But as time drew close for us to launch this new initiative of deeper and more structured, more sustained national dialogue between Islam and Catholicism, it seemed that at this particular moment in the history of our nation, we should not have dialogue alone on the theological level, that it would not be a moment of true encounter unless it was complemented by a substantive discussion of the scourge of anti-Islamic prejudice, which is roiling our society and distorting our national political dialogue. This evening's convocation is an effort to move further, more deeply, and in a more committed and sustained way. It is also a moment here in San Diego to take a public stand against the anti-Islamic bigotry, which is all too prevalent among us. My own remarks on this occasion center upon the challenge to the Catholic community in the U.S. to respond to this anti-Islamic moment in our national history in a manner which reflects both the teachings of our church and the historical experience of the Catholic community in America. The first challenge to the Catholic community is to recognize and confront the ugly tide of anti-Islamic bigotry which has arisen in the United States since 2001. The repeated falsehoods that Islam is inherently a religion of violence, the lie that Muslims seek to establish religious law in place of the constitutional order in the United States, and the assertion that Muslim immigration poses a threat to the cultural identity of the American people should be repugnant to American Catholics, not only because they are a distortion of a great religious faith, but also because they are the same distortions which were hurled against the Catholic community during the 19th and early 20th centuries. We are witnessing in the United States a new nativism, which the American Catholic community must reject and label for the religious bigotry which it is. Catholics in the U.S. must recognize that extremists have hijacked Islam to promote violence by distorting its fundamental vision. We only accentuate that evil by giving credence to those in the United States who, for political purposes, also hijack Islam and portray it as a threat to our national way of life. One of the great beauties of the Quran is its respect for the peoples of the book, the Muslim, Christian, and Jewish communities. Say unto them, we believe in that which hath been revealed unto us and revealed unto you. Our God and your God is one, and unto him we surrender. Islam proclaims that God is the guardian of all the faithful. Thus they should not fear nor grieve. It is a terrible wound to the Christian community throughout the world that their brothers and sisters in faith who have lived in Muslim lands for more than a millennium are being faced with extinction because of their faith. So too, it is a great tragedy for the Muslim community in the world to see their brothers and sisters in faith excluded from safety in Europe because of their faith.
So we recognize the fact that the emergence of Islam was characterized by mutual recognition and cooperation between Muslims and Christians. It's also a fact that from the beginning, Quran chapter 5, verse 82, Quran chapter 3, verse 13, praised Christians as the nearest to Muslims. The second millennium between Muslims and Christians began on a negative note when Pope Urban II in 1095 declared crusades against Muslims. This act helped to define the second millennium as the millennium of confrontation between Islam and Christianity. The crusades, which lasted for centuries, led to forms of slavery, brutal inquisition, wars of reconquista, colonial occupation of Muslim lands, and finally a bloody independence movement for the liberation of the occupied lands. Out of 57 Muslim countries, that there are only 57 Muslim countries that have more than 80% Muslim population. Out of 57 of these countries, 54 were at various points in their history under the direct European occupation that was sanctioned by Christian religious leaders. Pope Urban II did not only declare a war against Islam, he announced that Prophet Muhammad was the Antichrist. Even the great poet like Dante depicted the prophet in the lowest part of the hell in his Divine Comedy. While Muslims did not reciprocate with the derogatory language against Christ, who is and has always been highly revered by Muslims as a prophet of God whose birth and life are miraculous. Nonetheless, the mutual cooperation, trust, and positive relationship was replaced by mistrust, hate between the two faith communities. This new approach to Islam coincided with the emergence of a sizable Muslim community in the West. The West became as diverse in terms of race, color, and faith as Muslim world had been before. From the Philippines to Morocco, there have been bloody battles against the Christian colonial forces, the heroes of the wars, of independence, martyrs of freedom struggle, a long, rich history of resistance for independence and self-determination for the Muslim lands have been brought to light. The vast load of historical experiences being misrepresented and misappropriated by the ISIS as part of an active crusade today. This is happening at a time when the Vatican has rejected this bloody history and is struggling to move forward toward cooperation and collaboration with Muslims around the world. After all, the Quran celebrated religious pluralism as a divine gift and insisted that no one should be coerced to change one's religion. The Prophet was sternly warned in the Quran 10:99 not to expect people to follow him against their will. In face of the rising Islamophobia, we have received strong support here in America from the Catholics. In 2010, when a lone pastor in Florida was threatening to burn the Quran with utmost hate and malice, and when at the same time the hate against Muslims took the form of opposition to the building of the so-called Ground Zero Mosque in New York, and while several other Islamic centers were attacked and vandalized, it was that time that Catholic Conference of Bishops, along with Christian and Jewish denominations, came forward and rejected the anti-Muslim rhetoric. They declared that attack on Muslim places of worship will be considered as attack on all religions in America.